You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you may on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Lyre. So before we get right back into it, y'all, I just wanted to remind y'all I'm now an affiliate of Green Man Gaming. If y'all want to buy any games, click that link in the description. That'll take you right to their website. You get deals on all the latest and greatest games, and I get commission based on whatever y'all buy. Also, my lovely girlfriend Elle is an artist, and she's taking commissions now. I've got her commission info in the description. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up. And let's go. Ah, yes, we were meeting the executioner. Though as I listen to the jingling of his keyring, I start to wonder if that's actually a possibility. No, I would have seen him by now if that were the case. Unless I'm not the only prisoner in the dungeons. He finds the key he was looking for and sticks it in the lock. He twists the key and the lock comes undone, the chain falling against the doorway with a loud clank. Putting one hoof through the doorway, he slips through and closes the barred door behind him with a loud thud that rings up the hall. I back up against the wall a bit more as they approach, scuffing my feet across the floor. Is this some sort of joke? He stops where he stands, his tail flicking slightly as he looks down at me with a perplexed gaze. I'm not very good at jokes. Then why are you down here? Did Adria send you? He sits down on my bed and looks at me with confusion and concern. He rests his axe against the great slab of rock, the light shining off of it and casting a glare on my eye. I have to tilt my head slightly so I'm not being blinded. I believe he did, but I would have come down here either way. Why? Because I have to. I hunch over and hug my knees, keeping my eye on him. His eyes look like golden coins, shining dimly behind his shrouded gaze. Oh, yes. I've forgotten that you're not from here. He looks at me up and down for a moment. They do things differently in Erin? I let my body relax a bit and reply, the words trapped in my throat. I don't know. I've never been in prison before. The horseman takes a breath, then leans against the wall behind him. I just figured seeing you come down here only meant certain death. That's not the case. I can assure you that I haven't come down here to kill you. I'm no butcher. But you're the executioner. He leans forward with a jolt as if he'd realized something important. There are many misconceptions about people in my line of work. I know that in Erin they do things a bit differently, but this applies to everyone. As I slowly rock my body, I watch as he looks me in the eyes with this thoughtful gaze. Eye contact is something he seems to be very good at. A bit too good for my taste, as I find that it feels like he's staring into my soul. These misconceptions, what are you referring to? We are merely tools of the justiciar. The judge gives the sentence and the headsman carries it out. Whether we wish to or not, it is done. Don't see how this makes things better. It also doesn't explain why you're down here. My sentence hasn't been passed, let alone the trial. Unlike the hooded strangers who only come out at the king's behest in Erin, I have other jobs. Used as a tool for death, my purpose is holier than most. You're religious, then? As much as one can be in this time. However, it's unnecessary for me to prattle on about that. There'll be time to speak about it later. It is the duty of the headsman to bond with the accused and guide them to the path of acceptance, whether they are innocent or guilty. You're here to bond with me? 5 centuries ago, the men of the church might have come down here too. Men of the church? Oh, yes. There were plenty of them from Driss who had come north to spread word of God. And how could King Rune turn them away, when his own interest in religion was as strong as theirs? Why would they visit prisoners, though? They would come down here and try to convince the prisoners to confess their sinful acts, show them illustrated scripts from the old tomes, holy teachings and whatnot. I sit up and rub my hands together out of nervousness. I look up at the shackles hanging off the walls behind him. The rusted chains and clasps, making my wrists feel uncomfortable just by looking at them. You're not here to do that, right? No. That's not why I'm here. I don't care if you committed murder. It doesn't matter to me. Why not? Because it's not for me to decide. I am merely the axe, nothing more. Please explain your goal again. I'm getting a bit confused. My goal is to help you come to terms with your future. I throw my hands in my lap and tilt my head. Future? The trial approaches and your days are possibly numbered. I'm here to help in any way I can, as is the duty of a headsman. Their words cause an empty feeling to appear in my chest, as if someone just pulled my heart through my body. For just a fleeting moment, nothing seems to matter anymore. My thoughts go only in one place. It's the last place I would have expected them to go, but it makes sense the more I think about it. Snow crushed between my hands, breath just barely holding onto the inside of my lungs. I feel my chest starting to rhythmically beat, sending a hot feeling throughout my body. I tried to look around and find anything to take my mind off of this feeling. I look over at the cell door as it rests in the archway, slightly ajar. Why didn't you lock the cell? Because I know you won't try to leave. How? Because you're smarter than that. What's your name? He shakes his head, looking away and sighing. I can't tell you that, but I'm sure you'll find there's a bit of good in not knowing my identity. I see a small smirk grace his lips, but it doesn't feel like it was done out of arrogance. It felt full of understanding. As soon as the exchange ends, my mind travels back to the thoughts from moments ago. A heavy weight on my chest. Chaotic screams and shouts all around me. Let out a laugh. A soft, strained chuckle through gritted teeth. Why am I laughing? Trying to make it stop only makes it worse. I look up at the headsman, his face stoic and his eyes focused. It's as if he senses nothing wrong. A few more shivering laughs escape my mouth, and I start to feel tears forming at the corners of my eyes. I want to cry so badly, but as hard as I try, the tears will flow down my face. I'm listening. Raising my head, I see him staring at me with a soft expression. What troubles you? These words cause my resolve to shatter. You wouldn't understand. I've always struggled with the concept of death. Understanding what it is and how it works is easy enough. But when reality sets in and the feelings wash over, I'm never how I should be. The emotions just aren't there. Close friends and relatives pass away, and I'm told I should feel sad. And at first I was. I try, God knows I try. But life goes on, and the living leave the dead behind. Then an avalanche happens, killing a dozen men in my caravan. I survived by some miracle and wasn't even awake for the morning. I'm told of the events that transpired, and at first I feel nothing. Over time, the guilt starts to grow more and more. Just as I start to feel something, everything goes right back to the way it was. A month later, I walked in on a terrible scene. My king, bleeding at my feet, wounded beyond saving. And even then, all my mind can do is scurry about to try and piece together what just happened as I sit there in a puddle of his blood, acting a fool. I look down at my hands. My fingers are thin and cold, the blue streaks of veins running up and down them clearly visible. So it's ironic, isn't it? As selfish as I am about others' deaths, coming to terms with the idea of my own is impossible, no matter how hard I try. I stare into the ground, tears welling in my eyes, but refusing to flow. My mind won't stop feeding me these thoughts. I want to turn away from all this, now more than ever. I take Lyall with me to live somewhere where nobody will ever find us. Throw away my connection with Tigran and ditch their purpose so that they graciously bestowed upon me. Lyall and I can stay there forever and love each other. We can grow old and... Damn it all! I slump against the wall, hair in my face and legs spread out across the floor. My eyes glance in the direction of the headsman, and he's still sitting there. He hasn't moved an inch, and his expression is still the same as it was before. He bites down on his lip as he prepares to speak. I understand what you're going through. There are many people who suffer the same experiences. He leans forward, resting his weight on the handle of his axe. Can I ask you something? What is it? I stuttered this out through heavy breaths. Do you fear death? I don't really have to give this question too much thought, so I answer. It's not something I think about a lot. Everyone fears death at one point in their life. Why should you? Shouldn't everyone? Everyone does, but that doesn't mean they should. There's a reason for this. You have been dead before. His voice gets a bit serious all of a sudden. What do you mean by that? He reclines, resting his axe on the floor by his hooves. The heavy metal lets out a soft clank as it hits the ground. Most people today believe that when you die, you will be delivered onto nothingness. They often forget to ask themselves an important question. Where did we come from? Yes. Before you were born, you were nothing. If there isn't an afterlife, as so many people believe, then you have nothing to be afraid of. For all it's worth, I'm sorry about the feelings that have happened to you. I appreciate the concern and advice, but so far none of this feels helpful. He takes a deep breath and lets it out through his nose. Okay. He takes a deep breath and lets it through his nose. There's something else I want you to understand, though. You can't give up. I'm way down here in the case that you are guilty. Better to get stuff like this out of the way now. But if you are innocent, think of me as a friend. If you need to talk to me about anything, I'll be available for the next 3 days. I bring my legs up my chest and wipe my eyes with my hands. I have a friend. His name is Lyall Reed. The Royal Guard's captain? Yeah. He's the closest I've been with anyone here. Visions of Lyall's face flash before my eyes. I can see his smile and hear his laugh. I can feel his tears and smell his scent. Flowery and fresh with a hint of coconut. But he's not allowed down here. King Adrian said that he can't visit anymore. I only get letters now, but even those have stopped. Heavy silence falls over the cell. I feel my anxiety slowly start to lower as I relax into the wall. What other business did you have down here? He looks up, answer at the ready as if he's been asked this question 1,000 times. What else do you need to talk about? I feel a rush of emotions overcome me. Relief, sadness, anger. Nothing at the moment. I should be left alone now, please. He grabs his axe off the ground and sits it up straight. Very well. I'll return later if you wish to speak more. He walks towards the door and leaves through it, locking it behind him. I get up and lay down on the bed, staring up at the ceiling. Luvun. Tigran, I just said I wish to be left alone. I need to think. There's a short silence, then an understanding response from them. As you wish. I feel a little bad, but I know that he was only going to tell me to train. I can't blame him. It really is something I should be doing right now. It would be difficult, though. The headsman's words won't leave my mind. It seems nice, and it was nice to have someone to talk to other than Tigran, but now my mind won't stop racing. I turn over on my side, eyes fixed on the wall in front of me. I start to make shapes out of the bricks in my mind, each pattern forming an image. Doing this takes my mind off of everything usually, but now it's not working. Now my thoughts only move faster. Do they do this with every prisoner? Send an executioner down into their cell to talk with them about their uncertain future? It sounds nice on paper, but having experienced it just now, I don't know how to feel about it. Maybe I'll look back on it tomorrow wanting more. Still, he's given me a different outlook on all this. He said I shouldn't fear death, but he never said anything about defying it. My life is in my own hands, not Adrius's, not the headsman's. Mine. A chilling draft flows over my body as I lay there. I reach down by my feet and grab the small blanket, bringing it up to my torso. It's damp, but it's far from cold, thanks to the hot air wafting through the tunnels. As I lay my head on the uncomfortable pillow, I take the blanket and wrap it around my shoulders. The chilling draft from outside becomes less of a problem now, but my legs and feet are still terribly cold. I try to fall asleep. I pretend the blanket that's wrapped around me is actually Lyall. I imagine that night before everything went wrong. His large, warm body pressing against mine as his strong arms wrap around my torso. Oh. I roll over on the warm sheets, bundled up underneath the thick covers. My feet are a bit cold from the morning frost, and I quickly pull them underneath the blanket. I can feel a little headache coming on, but it's probably from drinking too much the night before. I wiggle out from under the covers and roll over so that I'm facing the window. Oh my. I was wondering why he wasn't in bed, but thankfully he's standing by the window. The fire from last night has gone out, the ash is dimly lit with a soft orange glow. A few logs have been thrown on top, but they haven't been lit yet. Lyall gazes out the window with a smile on his face. He's completely nude, but after what we did last night, it doesn't shock me at all. In fact, it's a welcome sight. His dick hangs in front of his body along with his balls, resting between his legs as he stands, putting more weight on one leg than the other. I shouldn't be ogling him like this, but he's just too gorgeous inside and out. His strong muscles are well defined in the morning light, and his long brown fur shines with a golden glow. His toned arms match his legs, and I even get a glimpse at his large rear while his tail swishes from side to side. Thinking about what he did with it last night, I wonder if I'll ever be able to pleasure him in that way. I take another look at his shaft and conclude that I'll need more preparation than he did with me. Oh my! As I stare, he notices me and turns away from the window. The light casts a warm glow around him as he smiles. Good morning, my lord. I couldn't help but notice you staring. Could there be something you need from me? He says this with a tone of levity, giving me exaggerated bedroom eyes as he struts over to the bed. His tail swishes back and forth as he walks over. I can't help but let out a laugh. Ha! Very amusing. Did I call upon a knight or a jester? He releases a fake gasp and smirks. How dare you mock me in such a way? If I were a jester, my lord father would be furious. If he got word that his only son was prancing around in tights and making jokes. He throws himself onto the bed, his weight causing me to rise in the air slightly, before resting back down on the heavy mattress. He'd strip me of all my lands and all that other nonsense. He lays his arm over my chest, his head resting on the pillow next to mine. His fur is messy and needs to be brushed. I'd like to see you prance around in tights. Oh, would you? I bet you look really nice as I pull you out of them. Oh, now I'd really like that. He whispers this, his voice soft and sweet. I feel him rub his paw further down my body, running over my stomach and landing on my thigh. It sends waves of chills all over me. He quickly grabs me with his other arm and pulls me closer to him. My backside is now firmly pressed against his pelvis, and I can feel him rubbing against me. His head gently rests behind mine, and I hear him whisper in my ear, "For real estate. You're beautiful." It sends a shiver up my entire body as I gently rub back into him. I'm all yours, Luvun. He rests his paws up over my chest, grabbing where he can. So long as every last inch of you is mine. Rubbing his padded fingers over my nipples, his hot breath huffs back against the back of my neck. His nose buries itself into my hair, and he takes a deep breath, squeezing me harder as he does. It was already hard, but this sends me past where I thought my limit was. I turn my head and place a kiss on his face. I love you, Lyall. Oh. Well, shit. The cold air wraps around my feet like a thick cloth. It hurts to open my eyes, but they stay open anyway. I pull the cloth tighter around me and realize that it doesn't feel like Lyall at all. Tears start to form at the corners of my eyes, a few of them streaming down the side of my face. I try to close my eyes in the hopes that I can pick up where my dream left off. I now realize that this is the first pleasant dream I've had in a long time. As my body succumbs to exhaustion, a thought enters my mind. I should have asked the headsman if he knew how Lyall was doing. Ah, to be continued. Okay. Alright, well, I'm actually about out of time anyway, so interesting. Alright. Got a little bit of a religious aspect to it today. No, not too religious, actually. Like, it wasn't overly preachy. But, yeah, interesting. Luvun, you need to start practicing more. Your life is on the line. Gotta find out who done it. Who killed the king. Alright, anyway, y'all, I gotta get ready for work. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!